Hadamadin ilanyan tolum preji kendomi annun ji senewo adabe hadamadun la baluwole kon annun hadamadun ka fengo fen dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senewol ay ke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadamadun mantora madingul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne gambia banko kan andun ye filtarole natal me yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senewo natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal me yalla ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol la jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato o fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalon ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendea filter mboko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical be bondi akono pour ka alla jata kendea sa hen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansundoku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko.
Morning there, you're watching QTV this morning and I'm your host Jane Sonko. Thank you so much for joining us and we apologize. Yesterday we weren't here due to reasons beyond our control, but we are back here today and I'm joined with my amazing co-host Aliou Cisse. I just hope demga besuba la dem kay mom. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It's good to be back here.
Yes. So Mr. Ade, do you know what Besuba means?
I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue, but doubtless you'll tell me. And everyone else who's watching who's not from Gambia.
Yeah. So Ali, what does Besuba mean?
Besuba is more like
Dembeje,
like no sleep. That's what,
yeah, no sleep, you know, no sleep, you know, just celebration to the tail.
I think there are lots of people who were celebrating yesterday,
yeah,
and I'm sure many people know why. If they don't, they'll find out as we go on in the
yes,
program.
as we go on. Yes,
this is a clue.
Yeah. This is definitely a clue. So, as usual, we have the African proverb, Aliou. We have the newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Ade Drame. Thank you so much for joining us. He'll be helping us analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers, and on Community Watch, we'll be taking a look at, once again, looking at sanitation, hygiene and water availability. We just feel like we need to come back to this because the last time the people that we hosted are actually from the ministry, and these are actually people that get to hold the ministry accountable. Not in a bad way, but obviously civil society is that it's their responsibility to do things as such. So we'll be joined by Joe Bonge, Executive Director, Young Volunteers for the Environment, and Ibrahim Ajara, CEO, Participant, National Wash Forum. And on social issues, we'll be taking a look at how we're able to bridge the gap in digital literacy for rural Gambia and focusing mainly on girls, you know, tech for girls. And we'll be joined here by the founder and president and Adam Ajala, communications officer for Tech for All. And also on Sports World, we'll be joined by Momodu Gajaga, as well as I'm not sure if he's having a guest today at all, but Momodu Gajaga will be here obviously and we'll hit him hard again because he's been a top critique of Tom Saints. He has been it's like all of the sports reporters we have in QTV were not satisfied with his fixtures and all of that.
With his selections.
Yeah.
So not just QTV, it's sports reporters in the Gambia.
Yeah.
If they're honest.
Yeah, it's all of them. And you know what? Whenever Tom calls for a press conference, these people will be hitting this man like...
Big time.
You know, big time.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of sports. You know, you cannot just come and have it your way. I mean, sometimes we try to push you, challenge you.
Yeah.
It's good that he's now proving all of us wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the man.
All right.
He's the right man for the job.
So what is our African proverb, Ali?
Well, our African proverb for today says, where you will sit when you are old shows where you stood in youth.
Okay. Wow. Where you will sit when you are old shows where you stood in youth. So we're just going to direct this question to Mr. Ade because we are still youth.
Yeah.
Are you a youth though?
Oh yeah, I am.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know I'm a youth, but I'm not sure about you.
am.
You are?
I
Anyway, Mr. Ade is not.
and I'm ancient, so that's exactly
Mr.
what
Ade, you're not a youth anymore.
Exactly.
So you can
Absolutely
tell
not.
us the importance of, you know, standing firm when you're a young person, making the right decisions,
Sure.
you know, and you know,
Yeah.
just growing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the general sense, it's about, you know, building a foundation for yourself. And it's like, you know, when you were young, you held on to certain principles. And the fact that you held on to those principles actually benefit you in older, because you don't compromise, you know, you don't give in, you know, and you know, those principles guided you throughout your young life. And so because of that, you know, when you're older, you can be proud that, you know, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I took these decisions in life. It's interesting because even if you relate it on a personal level, you know, growing up, I wanted to be a footballer because I was quite a good footballer. Well, my parents were totally against it. You know, so reluctantly, I thought, let me study instead because that was what they wanted. But in the end, I'm glad I did that.
You're
because
glad?
Yes, of course, it held me in good stead. I mean, my mother, who used to be a nurse, actually pointed out something. She said, you know, considering the amount of injuries you get every season and you miss so much of the season every season, she said, imagine if you're a professional footballer, you know, that will be, because it's always been that way, because, you know, where you play. So they kind of forced me to be, you know, to study, pay attention to my studies instead. And I guess that grounding I'm now grateful for, I'm thankful for. So I think, you know, for me on a personal level, I think that's, you know, how I relate it exactly to that proverb. You know, what I did in my youth is now standing me in good stead, you know.
So Ali, what's that decision? You're claiming that you're still a youth. I'm
we
not
won't
sure
ask
about
his
that.
age.
He's claiming.
I think he's a
but,
youth.
but what is that decision that you took a while ago, maybe while you were going to school, or just anything that is beneficial now at this point in time?
Well, you see, I have one of my principals. He still mock me about that. Like, when I was going to senior school, I remember at some point, I don't even attend inter-house.
Oh,
I don't. No, I don't.
Why is that?
No, I don't. My focus was more about my books.
Yeah.
For the fact that I was this person who was like you would say I'm putting the issue of the village, but I didn't like going to the farm.
Right.
And because of that, I mean, I was so interested about education.
Yeah.
And then, you know, all my focus was on my books because I had a bigger picture that I really want to be in the future, and then just has really helped me in guiding me where I am now.
Right.
And because of that, even when I was in school, when there's a talk about counselor or being a head boy or head girl, I'm like, no, I don't have the time.
Interested.
I'm like, you asking me to come to school and I'm standing at the gate looking for someone who come to late while my
why
friends
are
are
you
in the
making me feel
classrooms.
bad? I've been head girl. I've been head girl in primary school. I've been head girl at Nusrat.
Yeah.
So and it didn't affect me.
Okay, so let's throw the question to you.
Exactly.
This proverb.
Yeah.
How do you relate to it?
For me,
or interpret it?
Okay, let me use Aliu's analysis. I'm connected. While I was going to school, I used to attend a lot of debate competitions, like representing my school when it comes to competitions. And I can remember my math teacher used to say, "You will not make it. You are not in class. Always you're going to represent the school when it comes to extracurricular activities." Even when my extracurricular activity teachers come to get me, he'll be so mad because he feels like I should be in class, instead of doing that.
Well, you should be grateful they took you out of maths class. I mean,
I am so grateful, and you know what? I am so grateful that I made the decision. I took the decision that whenever I was always available, whenever there's a competition, I'm available. Even if they don't reach out, I just find a way to put myself into it, and it is beneficial. It helped when it comes to my confidence. It just helped when it comes to my relationship with people, how to deal with things, how to do things quickly and just multitask. It has really helped me, to be honest. In as much as my math teacher felt like, girl, you're always out of class. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the profession that I'm doing now, it came in handy at the end of the day.
So you won't be doing a job as a mathematician?
No, not at all. And Aliu, please, we did so well at school being head girls and stuff. So do not try to say whatever.
No. That's the way I took things. That's the way I perceived things at the time.
Acceptable.
That, you know, I don't have the time to be standing at the school gate waiting for someone who comes late or not.
Taking up responsibility.
I should have been in the class and then, you know, getting my lecture. That's how I perceive things at the time.
Yeah,
and then for me,
but I love to do it. I love to tell students, to do this and to do that, and that really helped when it comes to being just responsible when it comes to myself and all of that.
Yeah, you know, when I was in senior school, I was the worst prefect ever because I didn't believe in punishing my fellow pupils, and so I would always tell them that you know, such and such is keeping an eye on you because you've done this, this, and that. Stop.
You used to do
Stop
that?
doing it. Yeah.
How about you, Jedaba?
No, for me, I used to be very flexible, but I used to be very strict. You know, but I brought in rules at my former school, like Nusrat, for instance. Students used to wear all sorts of colors for shoes. We only wear sports shoes, and people used to wear Jordan, Nike, Puma, everything. At some point when I came in, I made sure that everyone wears black shoes, just so the next person won't say uniform. The next person won't say, oh, she has a Puma, she has a Nike. No, everybody is going to wear a black shoe, and it's for everybody, and that really helped. And as of now, I am informed that it's still happening. So in as much as I was strict, but I was flexible too.
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that because quickly, I mean, when I was in school in England, because of my kind of sense of justice and so on, I brought in something called the court system. Because us prefects, if we saw somebody we had a book, and I will say to you, I'll usually say you're booked, and I'll put your name in the book and I'll write what you did against it. When I joined the school, anybody who was booked got punished automatically. I introduced a court system because my father was a lawyer, so I kind of thought, you know, there are always two sides to a story. And so people, every Friday in the evening, you had to come and say in court, defend yourself against what the prefect had said. And I'm no exaggeration, bookings dropped by 90% because some guys just booked people because they didn't like them. And I was aware of that. And so they introduced that system. So, you know, it went against the grain of everything I believed in, and so we introduced this court system, and that stayed in the school. Even after I left the school, they kept it.
All right, so we'll go for a short commercial break now. I enjoyed this particular African proverb, and sometimes when African proverbs are very simple, it's so easy to deal with, but those ones where you have to crack your brain. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll head right on to the newspaper review. We'll be right back.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And Ali, we have a new sponsor on the program, Surau Kamara Unified IT Institute. They're part of our new sponsors, and they provide professional IT training and help students get certified in different IT disciplines. So thank you so much for joining us on this particular program, and hoping that joining us will allow more people to know about your existence and more capacities will be built. Well, where are they located? Tough question. But before we leave here, I'll be able to say where they are located. But they have excellent services. So what's on the point?
Well, on the Point newspaper, we have suspected rebels kill economic soldier in phone shooting. Interesting story there that happened yesterday. And Usman Sonko elected mayor of Ziguinchor. Gambia will sign as beacon across the Commonwealth this day. They said by the Commonwealth Secretary General who had met the president earlier this week.
In Scotland.
Exactly. And the outgoing U.S. ambassador lavishes praise on Gambia. And then Gambia's AFCON fair tales continues after victory over Guinea. That's what I have on the Point newspaper.
So on Fourier we have women banners complain of daily police harassment, and also University Students Union urge President Adama Barrow to address their unmet resolutions. And GRA's finance director says subvention increased to over $524 million. And drivers, SECOs, complain of slow operations at Kudang Groundnut Depot. And also we have TRRC recommends prosecution of former President Jammeh, his close aides, as well as government officials. And on the editorial, we have no sign of cabinet appointment from State House, and also on the editorial as well, what is happening at Fonyi Kansala.
And also in yesterday's publications, we saw, I mean, some people have started coming out expressing their interest to contest in the upcoming parliamentary election.
And also, Barrow constituting a caretaker cabinet, because we were in here yesterday, so we're just trying to bring in some of the interesting stories. But just to connect Barrow constituting a caretaker cabinet here, we also have on the editorial on Forea that what is happening. No sign of cabinet appointment from the State House, but it's legal that President Barrow appoints a caretaker cabinet for now, awaiting the swearing in of a new cabinet, if there's any.
That's right. I mean, it's for what he said is that it's business as usual. And to me, it's not much of a story, because there's been a press release already saying that, I think today is the 25th, and I think on the 27th.
That's on Thursday. On Thursday they're going to swear.
They're going to be sworn in, so we don't have long to wait. So people should just hold their horses. I think people are looking to see whether he will, because for the interim, he's kept everybody in post. And so they're trying to see whether going forward, there'll be a reshuffling, because it tends to happen when somebody comes in for a second term. It's time to kind of shake up the scene a bit, and you move people around, or you move them out and you move other people in. And so people are kind of keeping an eye, because if you end up losing your job as a minister, people always tend to think, oh, that means that him or her were not doing their job properly. But it's not always the case. Sometimes the president might just want to freshen things up by bringing in some new blood and so on. So people keeping very keen eye, because otherwise it's like, why have you kept everybody in place? You know, and sometimes people change just for the sake of changing, because they don't want people to say, oh, you didn't change anybody. So it's always a conundrum for the president.
And I think, Mr. Ade, it's very unfortunate that we have the idea that it's because someone was corrupt, that's why the person is removed. Even when it comes to a job,
not corrupt.
for example, that's what people tend to perceive. But the reality is, even when it comes to a job, if someone else who's more qualified comes, then the person has to move and allow that individual. But there's this concept that is ongoing currently in the country when it comes to President Barrow setting up a new cabinet. The concept is that all of these political parties that joined President Adama Barrow to form the coalition government of NPP, people think that each of these individuals need to have a ministerial post or become an ambassador or something. I'm like, does this happen in other countries?
Well, it absolutely happens in other countries.
Yes.
I mean, you take just 2 weeks ago in Sierra Leone, a guy called Alpha Khan. He's just been made a minister. Now, when you consider that this guy is one of the opposition guys who was running to be leader of his opposition party, I mean, it's a complete bombshell. That because he's only ever belonged to that opposition party since the day he was in parliament first, which was like 38 years ago. He's never been in any other party. And in the last election, he was actually vying to be leader and would have contested, had he won, against Madabio. And Madabio has just appointed him. And so all sorts of rumors have been going on. Oh, is it because he's been promised this and so on? Is it that he's going to deliver the north to Madabio? And the north of Sierra Leone, which is the Timini area, they've never voted for Madabio's party in any significant numbers. But this guy is very popular in the north, and if he can deliver the north, trust me, Madabio will have a landslide in the next election. So things like that happen. So every time this sort of thing happens, because even in the previous one, a lot of the people who left their parties to go to join Madabio and support him before the election, a lot of them ended up getting jobs as ministers and so on. So people expect it. It happens.
But it's unfortunate. What's your take on it?
You know, some of it is opportunism, but some of it is because the president thinks, yes, this person was an opposition person, but they're the best person qualified for the job. They have the qualities. And that's what people will be scrutinizing. If you appoint somebody just because they're in opposition and they supported you, people can see through that. They're not stupid. You know, they'll say, oh, they only got this job. But if you appoint somebody who was in the opposition but now supports you, and you can justify that they are the right person for the job, it's not a problem. Because we talk about when the country moves forward, everybody has to work in the national interest, both the ruling party and the opposition. So, you know, why shouldn't you appoint somebody who was previously in the opposition? But you have to be able to justify it. And these days, people will scrutinize it.
For me, at the end of the day, all of them, their goal is to see how the country is developed. I mean, if you believe, okay, you were opposing the system, and perhaps, you know, you can have it, and then you think, why not? I think I can join Mr. Ade, and then we share ideas and see how basically we can move the country forward. You being an opposition on the other side doesn't mean, you know, you cannot switch and then join the system to help, because you can also come up with your own ideas to help.
No, Ali, sometimes it's beyond.
I know sometimes sometimes it's beyond that. Yeah, but then
interest and so
it's
on.
beyond.
But then
To me, sometimes I see it as, you know, rewarding, using our ministerial positions to reward people.
That's
but
what
it's
I'm
politics.
saying. It happens.
That's what politics is all about sometimes. But then
it happens.
Like I said, I mean, even all these political parties, I mean, you certainly have people there who can handle these ministerial positions.
I mean, taking what you've just said, if you reward somebody because they supported you, but that person can deliver.
That's
there's no problem.
That's fair.
The person has to be able to deliver.
That's the
and
part.
that's crucial.
But I'm sorry, it's just a caretaker government.
For now.
Certainly, so there's going to be shuffle. Some
Looking
people have to
looking
go.
forward to Thursday. I'm so excited to know who's going to take up all these positions. I'm excited. Yes. So Ali, should we take a look at the University of the Gambia Students
Let's
Union?
look at the issue of the Fonyi incident.
Sure.
Quite worried. This logging is getting out of hand now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing on the point that you know, one of the Senegalese economic soldiers was killed yesterday by rebels in the Fonyi region. This is actually confirmed by even the public relations officer of the economic in the country.
In fact, interestingly, as I was about to come down here to do this program, we're about to speak to that very person, the PRO for the economic soldiers, because, you know, I know it's not a war, but they said, you know, in a war the first casualty is always the truth. So both sides are claiming to have captured or killed certain number on either side, and we actually got somebody who called us yesterday and said, you guys need to come down and cover this story, but my colleague Omar P. Jallo was on the phone next to me speaking to the person, and you could hear the gunshots in the background, and I said to the guy, there's gunfire and you're telling us you're about to run, and you want us to come there? So it's a serious matter, and it needs to be dealt with. But you're right, it is allegedly around this whole logging matter, where people are saying that, you know, people were sort of bringing in logs and then, you know, being intercepted, and sometimes apparently what happens is the logs get seized, and then the vehicles get returned to Senegal, and the person has to go and justify why they should get the vehicle released back into
because I could remember that was this particular day I was coming back from Jara Soma, and then, you know, I came across a vehicle which was being escorted with logs going towards the Kanilai end, because Senegalese forces have another base in Kanilai, and then, you know, the vehicle was being escorted by these Senegalese forces to Kanilai. But like I said, I mean,
this is a serious incident.
In this report, Mate is saying, I can confirm on the rebel side that one rebel was shot and his gun was retrieved. We also got casualty, and that means the person died. However, he dismissed speculation that the Senegalese forces were trying to confiscate logs from a log smuggler who was transporting logs from Casamance to the Gambia.
And this is it. So if you go on social media, there are like 10 different theories as to exactly what happened.
I even saw some people pegging it to sovereignty.
You'd always get that. Because, you know, like, oh, you know, why are these people you know, attacking into Gambia? Because that was the whole thing. You know, like, first of all, they were claiming that Senegalese troops had come from Senegal, chased those people into the Gambia and exchanged fire with them on Gambian soil. From everything we've heard, it doesn't appear to be that, but what we do know is that people in the area who are not involved have been fleeing their homes, you know, just out of fear of this thing escalating. And as we said, you know, at least one confirmed dead, and possibly more, depending on the stories that you hear. But, you know, they don't always tell you that.
Exactly, it's still sketchy. I mean, others are talking about logs. The PRO is dismissing speculation, but then we will try to get to the bottom of the story and get,
because what we
bring
want
out
to
the facts.
find, what we want to find out is, if it wasn't about logs, then how did this exchange of guns happen that one of your people ended up being killed? Something must have been behind it.
And the issue with logs has been a center as far as this
around that area
is
for a long time.
So many people have in the past complained about how they have been treated. I mean, so
talking about that, how they've been treated, let's take a look at the recent press release about petroleum. You know, we saw that the presidency decided to come up with a task force comprising of Social Security and Housing Corporation, representative from Pura,
Sure.
you know, just different representatives coming together to actually see what really transpired before the full footage.
This is back in October.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was like before the elections, right?
That's right.
So, and now we've seen that at least the government is coming out to condemn corruption.
Very strong statement.
Very strongly.
Yeah.
Although we're looking forward to what will come out of it,
Yeah.
and the public is still saying that meaning nothing will happen.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the statement that's been issued by the government, and they've been very, very critical, they've not
Yeah.
kind of held back
Yeah.
in terms of who they are holding responsible for it. You can't make that sort of statement and do nothing.
Don't know.
So, you know, you've raised the bar
but already
in terms of we're going to crack down on corruption, we're going to crack down on fraud, which is kind of what, I wouldn't say alleged, they throw the accusation out there. You can't do that and then roll back on it. You have to then forward it, you know, follow it through. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens as to, you know, now they've come out and said, you know, there was fraud, there was this, there was that. Okay, what are you going to do about it? That's what everybody's going to be asking.
What next?
Yeah, and they came
what
up
next?
already. We can see that they came up with a lot of recommendations here when it comes to Pura, you know, pushing for more regulation when it comes to petroleum.
It's about enforcing the regulations that exist, really, rather than coming up with more regulations. You know, regulations exist to kind of clamp down on this sort of thing, but like everything else that we always talk about, this thing, they're there, they're on the piece of paper, they're not being enforced. They need to be enforced, and people need to be held to account.
Yeah, and also the restructuring of GAM Petroleum should include constitution of a new board of directors, immediate appointment of an interim management, while also investigations
Exactly. You would only
ongoing.
say that if you are alleging that the current management are not up to the job, they're corrupt, etc., because that's a very, very strong statement. It's not even implied, it's explicit.
Yeah, but the sad part is, for us to fight corruption as a country, you talk to people about this particular incident and they'll be like, the same institutions that actually are holding these people accountable are corrupt themselves. I'm like, those that really matter.
Look, you know what, when I hear people talk about corruption, I always ask them a couple of simple questions. Have you not done something corrupt? Somebody will tell you that, you know, I went and applied for this, I paid, and I got it quickly rather than waiting the 1 week or 2 weeks that it takes. You're encouraging the corruption yourself by feeding into that. So, you know, it's not always up there that corruption is. We actually all have a part to play in this. And if we don't play our part, then it will carry on.
It will.
So what you said is very important. For me, it's just about the mentality. I mean, if all of us change our attitudes, I mean, we'll be able to fight corruption.
We will be able to, certainly. Aliu, I think we should take a look at the university, the university story here, because we have university students union urged president to address their unmet resolutions, because they met President Barrow in September 2021, and according to them, they need proper libraries. The tuition fee is too expensive. A lot of students get to drop out at the end of the day. School buses. They also want to get rid of underperforming lecturers. I don't know how they get to determine that, but these are some of the things that they're calling for. And this is our only university.
Well, this is it. And before we came on air, you sort of enumerated some of their concerns that they wanted to see addressed. And things like underperforming lecturers. I think, you know, like I always keep using this phrase, you know, people are not stupid. Students who are at a university can tell which lecturers are up to par and which ones are not. You know, either in the way that they deliver their lectures, in the way that they scrutinize and test their students and challenge them. Because that's what you should always do. If you're a lecturer, you need to push them, you know, beyond kind of their comfort zone, you know, and that's something that needs to happen. So the students are aware as the ones that are underperforming, because they can compare them to the ones who are up to par. So it's not rocket science exactly. So they want these things addressed, and of course government, yes, they can call on the president, but also the university's own governing structure needs to clamp down on this. If people are underperforming, if people are underperforming and you know, they're not scrutinizing and not testing the students, root them out. You know, because if you don't, what you get is students who are not fit for the workplace. They're not going to be fit to kind of take on the reins of running this country. And you know, and it's a serious matter.
And I can remember Esau Williams during the GPU award, he did mention that just generally our education system needs to be looked at, but this just education system anyway goes beyond the University of the
way
Gambia.
beyond.
It just has to do with where you get to start and where you're heading to.
I was involved in an education conference
Yeah.
back in 2018. Over the 2 days, we had over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And as part of that conference, we went to about 10 schools to interview people. I can tell you, I interviewed some of the teachers. I would not allow those people to teach my child.
Yeah.
I was horrified.
Yeah.
So they were not up to it.
Yeah.
And how the hell did they get a job as a teacher?
Question.
Absolutely scandalous.
You know how they got that job?
Please tell me.
Yes, sometimes they do not have good grades and their last resort is to become a teacher. That is the sad part in the Gambia. People feel like if you fail your grade 12, the only thing you can become is a teacher. You do not become a teacher.
By the way, not all of them.
Not all of them,
Exactly.
but majority.
Yes.
Ali, we are all in the school.
Yeah, I know, but then, like,
Majority.
no, but what I'm saying, I'm just making it very clear, not all of them, before it is passive as all the teachers in
I'm
the
not
country.
saying all, but when I say this, well, while I was going to school, Mr. Ade, us as kids, when we used to sit to talk to each other, and, oh, what do you want to become? What do you want to become? Oh, if you fail, you might end up going to the college and become a teacher. That's a concept in students' head, in kids' head.
That's terrible.
Ali, you know what I'm saying.
I know what they're saying, but like, I'm just making it clear for the sake of our viewers that we are not saying all, exactly,
we're
not
not saying all
teachers.
teachers,
Exactly.
but he had the experience. He went down to interview teachers who he feels who cannot teach his children. Right?
One particular teacher, I recall, it had been her job to take us around the school and show us, how the school operated, etc., etc. So at the end, I interviewed all of them on film, and I said to each teacher, what subject do you teach, and so on. And I came to her last of the 7 teachers that we interviewed that day, and I said, and can you tell us your name and what? And she said, I teach English. I nearly had a heart attack.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Ade. And Aliu, thank you for making that disclaimer as well, because it is important. I don't want to go on the streets and my teachers coming after me saying whatever, but I'm just trying to say that as kids, when we were growing, teaching used to be the last resort for a lot of kids. It's not like a passion. They don't have the passion to teach, to go for it, but because they don't have an option most of the time, that's why they do it. But anyway, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we will head right on to our social issues, taking a look at bridging the gap in digital literacy for rural Gambia. We'll
our
be
guests
right back.
are already here.
Yes.
So
Cool.
Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Want it, order for it, and pay quickly using QuickPay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Sunibus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and we're joined by representatives from Tech for All. But before we engage them on how they are working to bridge the gap in digital literacy for rural Gambia, we'll just take a look at this video, and when we come back, then they will get to tell us how they're doing this.
We wanted to see more girls in the ICT sector. We want this thing to be a life-changing program for all of you who have the opportunity to attend. At the end of the day, we want to see that success story whereby whoever attends this training will be able to do something with what you have been trained. We want to see success story. We want you to be self-sufficient, self-independent from the skills that you gather through these 4 intensive months.
Honest, like I'm really inspired by seeing my fellow women on the good deeds that they're doing.
Actually, it was an amazing journey because we got to meet our fellow ladies, and we got to know that what men can do, women can do better. And we're so inspired by their work, and we hope to be better in the future as well.
Really important occasion, and to recognize how much of an honor and a privilege it is for us to support Tech for All and other young Gambians who, through their energy, their intellect, and their creativity, but most of all, their passion for helping their fellow Gambians acquire the skills necessary to advance and contribute to the future development of this country.
I'm so glad to be here, particularly as an ICT official or as an ICT practitioner, as a mentor, and someone who shares a similar story with these beautiful girls here today, graduated after 5 months of practical skills training.
So this is one step, because in life you have to be prepared, because success is where preparation meets opportunity.
So Soon and the entire Tech for All team, thank you for all that you do. It is a privilege for us to support the work you do, which really makes a difference in everybody's lives. Thank you.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in from that video, actually, and that video was so explicit, maybe we should just cancel the interview and just ask our guests to leave, because with that video we already know how they're working to bridge the gap in digital literacy for rural Gambia. Ali, you just talked about the fact that the US ambassador is his time is over and he's leaving, and this particular project is funded by the US Embassy. So we say a special thank you to him and just wish him well in his future endeavors. And thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's a good pleasure being here.
All right.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, looking forward to an interesting one. You know, bridging the gap in rural Gambia when it comes to digital literacy. Let's start with rural Gambia, to be specific. I went through the work that you've been doing and I found out that it goes beyond girls. You know, it has to do with civil servants and all of that. So it's quite interesting. So specifically, what work are you doing in rural Gambia to try to bridge the gap, and how are they responding to these lessons that you're trying to give them?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer Aliu, for having us here today. As you said, the video has said a lot of what Tech for All Gambia is all about.
Yeah.
So, but you know, just add Jumbo on what
you want to? You're
spice up.
Yeah, I think just let me just give a bit background of Tech for All Gambia. It's just a non-profit organization which is aiming to bridge the digital gap. When you talk of technology, of course, we all realize that there is a gap, being it from the rural Gambia to the urban, being it women and girls, being it from the low-income earners and any with the rich people. So Tech for All Gambia here sort of coming up with an initiative. How do we do to make so we try to bridge that gap, not only for women and girls, but also from the rural and the urban Gambia. Focusing on bridging the digital gap in the Gambia, that actually brought us and then thinking of or come up with an idea of how do we, because we said bridge it. I know a lot of opportunities are here in the urban area, but our main focus will be focusing on the rural Gambia as well, because we cannot do without them. So that's been the case. We had the opportunity to come up with a training which was called bridging the digital gap in digital literacy in the rural Gambia. That's actually one of our first activities that we had in 2019, which was through a small individual grant from the former alumni, from the Alumni Association under the US Embassy, which formerly called the IVLP, now is called the United States Exchange Program Alumni Network, the Gambia. We had that opportunity. We didn't think of doing it anywhere because we said we are bridging the gap. We had to go all the way to Mansakanko with the support of Ministry of Information and Communication to think of training civil servants from different area. We had people coming from the police. We have people from agricultural department. We have teachers whom technology is part of their life. Regardless of what you do now in your work, in your place, in your house, even if you don't work formally, but you use your phone every day to check news, reviews, status, and that's all part of technology. So we felt there's a gap where civil servants or people working don't really have that capacity or skills to operate basic, for example, Microsoft Offices. So we thought this is a beginning for us, not to go as big as, but at least let's have this Microsoft application being introduced to these people. At least it could enhance their activities and work that they do in their life daily. So we have supported, as I said, from the alumni under the US Embassy once again. And then we went and trained. It was a 5 intensive days training for this. We had volunteers from different tech people, and then had to train these people. And it was really impactful in the sense that we had some police that had some computers in their offices, but guess what they usually do? Sometimes if they have to write a letter, at some point they have to go to the cybersecurity to just pay someone to type a letter and then design and everything. Excel was at another level for them. So after this training, they had acknowledged the impact the training has on them, that now they didn't have to go to the cyber cafe and then pay someone to write a letter for them, send an email. They don't have to call IT technician just to come and fix a cable that has been unplugged from their computer. So you have seen the impact it has, and it actually geared towards
you know, giving them capacity and self-confidence that they need to work in their daily life. And I think this was a very great and amusing result from there, and they really were looking forward to having more of this, and we actually promised them. But you know, because of the COVID-19, we couldn't go back. But as for our plan, of course, we have in our pipeline activities that we are going back, and then of course, not only targeting 25, because even if you look at the rural, we have more than 25. But that was a start, and then we look forward having more of those activities.
Thank you very much soon. I'll just bring in Adama here. I mean, he talks about piloting it in Jarasoma, Masakongo to be specific. How and why was Masakongo identified? We're talking about rural Gambia. Rural Gambia is quite big. Why
specifically Mansakongo? Yes, like we were saying, this is a small grant that we had. We have to target somewhere. We have to start somewhere. And rural Gambia being the focus area, we definitely had to look some place to start it. And then we did a lot of survey, and then we went through a process where we would identify a place, and Mansakongo was available, the space was available, and then we had contacts, and then we contacted for them to bring in this multi-stakeholders from the different sectors. Like she rightly mentioned, the nurses, the police, the agriculturists, employees from the local governor's office. So it's a starting area, and as a pilot project, we really want to widen it, and if we have more funding, more support, as that is our goal, we will definitely get to spread it and decentralize it to other areas. But that is a pilot project, I will reiterate, like we already said. All
right. So, Aliu, let's take a look at the girls that you're focusing on. You know, they seem so excited looking at the video. Somebody said what a man can do, a woman can do it. And on QTV here, we're so particular. Excuse me? And on QTV here,
what did I just say?
And on QTV here, we're so particular. Anyway, it's not about what a man can do, a woman. But what we are trying to put across here is a job should not be defined by somebody's appearance or somebody's sex.
Indeed.
That's what we're trying to put across. So how were you able to deal with them? Were you able to change their mindsets? Sometimes even parents get to contribute when it comes to the fields that their children want to do. So how are you able to just bridge that gap, convince them to take up something in this area?
I think technology is a global trend right now, and we all know that we need it, and we have to keep up with it. And it's not like something that people don't know anymore. And then girls, people are growing, and people are seeing what technology is doing for us and what technology is capable of doing. So it is not like we have to dig down to scout out, we have to convince you. But people were willing to actually, get involved and explore more into technology. I mean, the COVID and the pandemic is a testimony of how much we need technology and where it can take us and how much we will be depending more on it. So I believe people just merely through social media or through the activities that are happening, people are convinced that we have to try to get involved more. And then it's a changing mentality. The narratives are being changed, and young girls at an early stage are inspired and motivated. They're seeing success stories of women that are doing very well in the technology sector. And that is like sort of a motivation. And we are just complementing that. We are just bringing them, they know about it. They know about it. How can we practicalize it?
So due to time constraints, just quickly soon, before you leave, she talked about mentors. Sometimes when you read about issues of technology, you would see that there are not a lot of mentors in this area to actually motivate these people. And with the lack of mentors, they will not see the need to actually go for it. And you've been doing mentorship sessions and all of that. Just in a few seconds, can you just tell me what it takes to really make it in this area as a mentor?
I think the best thing you could do is like being an example of what you're talking about, because sometimes when you're mentoring people, you have to relate to them. And as we said, we're all in the ICT sector, and we have been working in the ICT sector, knowing and seeing the experience women being ICT being dominated by men. If you tell people about your story, if you tell them the real, because you're telling them actually your real life story, not about copying other people or taking it from the internet. This is something that you live, and then it has changed your life. So through that success story that you live through your life, you can actually inspire them to tell them, if I can do it as a lady, try to, bridge all that, mountains.
But the question is, how were you able to do it? What steps did you take?
Yeah, it's through discussion and talking to girls.
Okay.
Yes, because you need to go there and reach out to them, talk to them, you know, and then give out life stories.
Okay.
Give them the success stories, and before you can, you know, when you
So
went to
what
catch
is
up
that
girl-
success story? I just want to know, was it patience? What was it? Was it honesty, hard work? What got
No,
you there?
of course you
If you
have.
can summarize it.
Yes, just in few seconds. I
think-
want to bring that out.
Yeah, it actually involves all of it,
Okay.
being honest and hard work, and then the positive side of the outcome that being in that area can give you.
Okay.
Like a woman to be independent, because this is a career that gives that woman opportunity to be independent, to
Sure.
be self-sufficient, and do whatever you want to do without having to struggle of being working, you know, outside. I don't want to behind men.
Yeah.
Look at them. Three of them.
Santa Yala, Ben of Santa Yala, Ben of Gurafine.
I think he has no objection around that.
No, I have no objection.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a bit
man li ma lay wax mooy lu si neex mooy liggéey yi da nga amal sa bopp xaat ñu may la buñ la mayee jëlal waaye amal nga sa bopp.
The good thing about it, Jane,
Anyway, yeah,
you don't need to be employed.
Wow, what you can be self. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. He's always trying to bully us. Waaye fi mu nekk nii ñu lu ñoo wax mooy yes ku ñu may dinañ jël waaye dinañ liggéeyal suñu bopp ñun loolu la ñoo wax. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back we will head right on to Community Watch, and we'll be talking about water, sanitation and hygiene. So we'll be right back.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
Welcome back from that short break. If we're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So Aliu, it's actually a coincidence that on Community Watch we talked on social issues, we talked about technology because our new sponsors on the program, Surau Camara Unified IT Institute, is actually trying to also bridge the IT gap, especially for women and girls, as they're looking forward to providing you professional IT training to help get their students certified in different IT disciplines. So it's a good thing. At least they'll be able to collaborate in a way.
I hope they do.
Yes, they can. So on Community Watch, we're taking a look at hygienic water and sanitation for communities, but particularly looking at the gap between urban and rural areas when it comes to access to water, hygiene and sanitation. Recently, the Young Volunteers for Education staged their multi-stakeholder forum on WASH data, gap identification, as well as lobbying strategies. I'm not sure if we have a video for this particular Community Watch to show. It seems we do not, so we'll just delve into the no video. Yes, so we will now just delve into the interview. We're joined by Joe Bonge, Executive Director, Young Volunteers for the Environment, as well as Ibrahima Jara, CEO, Participant National WASH Forum. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, Joe, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Jay and Aliu Sise. It's great to be on this morning show.
All right. So first of all, as long as we have a participant here to connect it, let's first start with that multi-stakeholder forum that you hosted, the reason why, before we go to the gaps that really exist. So just, give us an update in relation to that multi-stakeholder forum that was hosted.
All right, great. Being the CSO focal point for the Sanitation and Water for All, which is actually a coordinating body supporting government and CSOs to close the inequality gap towards access to water, sanitation and hygiene. Realizing that Gambia is also a signatory to many conventions that connects water, sanitation and hygiene, and understanding also that there are a lot of inequalities at the country level. So we deem it fit that before intervening to major pilot initiative, it is best to equip our CSOs and also the media as well, who are also part of the stakeholders, to make sure that we are able to hold government accountable and also start the steps towards social accountability, where every region will hold its the local government authorities and central government accountable, because this is a basic human rights that every human should enjoy, especially every Gambian as well, since we're paying tax and of course we're electing them as well.
All right.
Yeah, like you said, the access to water is a fundamental human rights like any other rights. Let me just bring in Ibrahim here. You from the CSO. You also play a crucial role in terms of holding the government accountable. When you look at the current state of the issue of water, sanitation and hygiene, what's your impression?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm from the Soil Solution Gambia, which is an NGO. We are into sustainable soil and water management. And I think it was very relevant for me to participate in the national WAS committee, at the Nana Conference Hall, because most of the soil waters that we are consuming in the Gambia is actually coming from the natural water bodies, and this is waters from the underground water and then water from springs and so on. I'm really not very impressed with the sanitation of water in the country, with the fact that in the Gambia we have about 73% of E. coli in the waters that we consume at the household level, and then 62% of coliforms, which these are bacteria that are found in the intestines. We get these bacteria from the waters that we drink. So if this is the situation, I'm not really very happy with this. And I think the Young Volunteers for the Environment and also the SWA, that is the sanitation and water for all, focal point, they have really did a good job in terms of sensitizing people and also the media capacity in waste and its related issues.
I mean, the issue of access to water is a problem, no doubt. For example, here on QTV, we have run different stories where communities have been appealing for water, and we have did stories, and then thank God our stories have really impacted on that communities, because we have later seen people coming out to the boreholes in those communities. But in your case, Joe, I mean, whose responsibility is it?
Well, I mean, it's a good question, and this is what came out of the workshop that we conducted. We realized, in fact, the duty bearers don't even know their mandates, and there is pointing finger of each other. And I think looking at the composition of the technical working group, in fact, you realize that NAWEC is not even part of the technical working group on water sanitation and hygiene. I think the local government have a stake here as well, and PURA as a regulatory body, utility regulatory body, as he made mention, there is groundwater contamination in this country, and that is why it is high time that every citizen take it upon him or herself to make sure that we have the check and balance on these authorities and know how much our taxes are going on to. And looking at the budget of the country, you realize that water sanitation is given a little portion, and this is really affecting interventions by these key authorities as well. And we all know there is adverse water scarcity in this country. Today you open your lines, people will give you numerous cries and so on. And there are a lot of schools with toilets, but the sanitation part of it is weak. You realize one person is taking care of thousands of children's toilet, and you could realize that also our public institutions as well, our hospitals, the toilets, even offices don't have a running water in this country. And it's in this country you also realize that, people still drink, from well water as well. And in this country, people using donkey to even draw water from the well and so on. So there are a lot of inequality gaps, and also weak coordination by institutions. Institutions are not working together towards, actualizing the set goal of the country commitment towards international conventions. And this is unfair to the masses, and I think it is high time that we take, the duty bearers accountable for each of the mistakes and the havocs they are causing on the human health and the environment as well, because this is a basic human right that everybody must enjoy. And as a government, it is a responsibility of the government to make sure that they invest on water sanitation and hygiene. Other countries are going further. And if you look also, the SDG, Gambia is below the SDG level in achieving the SDG for water sanitation and hygiene. But looking at the NDP, the National Development Plan, you realize that it is stating that 64% of the Gambian people are accessing. But looking at the international level, we are far below. So you see that big gap. So that means there is false narratives, there is a false information going on, and I think we have to do away with this, because there is water poverty.
Before Jennifer comes in, you made a mention of something about holding the duty bearer accountable. I'll bring Ibrahim here. How do we hold them accountable?
Well, we have to take our responsibilities. Before holding someone into account, you need to also take your responsibilities. I think in the aspect of was you know, we have to look at these three things. One is the service provider. Who are the people providing us water? In the Gambia, we understand NAWEC is a service provider, and then the Department of Water Resources is a service provider. And also individuals are also drilling boreholes to provide water for the people. This is also need to be checked and then, you know, be accounted for. And then also you look at the, you know, service regulator. Who are the people responsible for regulating, making sure that there is standards in the water that we consume, there is quality in the water that we consume. And I understand PIRA into this regulation. So PIRA also need to do their job. They need to be accounted for that. And then also you have the service consumers. We, the people, the local, the ordinary people who are in the communities drinking these waters that are from the, you know, that are from the service that we have been provided by NAWEC, Department of Water Resources, and also individual businesses that are drilling boreholes. We also need to make sure that the water that we've been provided is being taken care of. The resources that are put into these things to provide us water are being catered for. So accountability here, when we are talking about accountability here, we are not here to you know, criticize anybody or to say anybody is not performing his role, you know, but we want to make sure that we people take responsibility of their own act. We want to make sure that you know, we constructively talk to you and constructively criticize you in order for you to understand that there is more that you need to do. We look at
so due to time constraints,
Okay.
I just feel like I won't do justice if I do not ask this, because you as CSOs are holding government accountable. But another thing is that it is said that we do have a lot of consultative forums, and whereby nothing comes out of it. So as a participant, I just want you to tell me tangibly what comes out of that. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to hold a government accountable here, and maybe just meeting and talking cannot really change it. I'm glad that Aliu asked that question as to how will we be able to hold a government accountable. So from that forum, what came out of it as a participant? What did you go home with and you can eventually implement and it will yield dividend?
Well, what comes out of it, I think the most important thing of it was to hold the duty bearers accountable, and in this we learned three things, three A's and then Q. And one of the A's is the availability of these services, the water that we are provided, and then the accessibility of it, and then the affordability of it also, whether it is available, whether it is accessible, and then whether it is affordable. And then moving out of those three A's, you have the Q, that is the quality of the water that we have been provided. And then I think here we also learned that there is a gap, there is no interconnectedness between institutions in the country. We've seen, you know, a lot of gaps in that, you know. Also there is a low level of civil society participation in terms of decision making, and also other important levels where, you know, the issues of waste and, you know, water resource management is discussed. So this is what comes out really from the workshop that we had.
Okay, and it's impactful. You'll be able to implement these things.
Absolutely.
So at your own level, what can you do with that information right now? Moving forward, what are you going to do with that information from that stakeholders forum?
Well, responsibility is very important in that, and in my own institution where I work, which is also a CSO, we have learned to integrate the issue of waste and water resource management into my work. Today I can really be able to tell you know, farmers, because agriculture also contribute a lot to the issue of waste and water resource management. So I will be able to tell the farmers that I deal with and some of the partners that we have to come in this direction. This is some of the things that we have to do, the best practices we have to do in order to also you know, solve the issue of waste and water resource management.
Okay, so Joe, before you leave, what's your partnership with the WASH department of the Ministry of Health? Because they came here and you talked about the budget. I'm glad you did. When they came here, they talked about constraints that they're facing. I interviewed them and they personally told me that most of the projects that they're implementing are funded by UNICEF. Most of their projects are not really coming from government coffers. So what partnership do you have with them to further complement them, as long as they are accepting that they don't have enough money to do their work?
Well, as at now, we are actually trying to familiarize ourselves what constraints they are going through and understand also, you know, what are the, constitutional, provisions, you know, as a state as well. Because also, whilst we put the blame on them as a national focal point, also we want to understand also what is the parliament doing about this thing. Are they aware? Are they even actually, convinced about water sanitation and hygiene as well? So right now, we are trying to work with them to have general country, scale of what really is happening, of both the rural and urban areas, and support them also with regards to research, and to be able to get an accurate data, because data is very important in terms of intervention, to know the disparities and know the inequalities, and see how best will encourage the government to invest more. For your information, we are inviting partners from the UK and also at the international level, where the government have currently submitted priority mapping of what do they want the international donors to support them on, which will be happening in few months time.
Amazing.
And where the Minister of Finance will sit, the Minister of Environment as well, and the Minister of Health, to have an interconnected honest conversation about the priority.
Thank you so much, Joe Bonge, for joining us on the program. It's a very wide topic, water, sanitation and hygiene. Obviously this is not something that you'll be able to discuss in minutes, but we'll follow your progress as a focal point to see some of the things that you're doing in the country. And thank you so much for joining us. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga, and we'll be talking about the reason why we're wearing this. Right? We were talking about that soon. So let's go for a break, and when we come back, we'll have a conversation around that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And like I mentioned, Aliu, now we're about to talk about the reason why we get to wear our Scorpion shirt. Thank you so much for joining us, Mamadou Gajaga. And yesterday we already started this conversation on the news about just what you think about us making it to the quarterfinals and the fact that you've been so critical, you know, when it comes to fixtures and all of that, together with your colleague Alusi. So here, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure always to be here, talk about sports, especially Gambian sports, football in particular. Now that the Gambia made it to the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations, their first participation in the competition, debutants, lowly ranked side, the lowest ranked team, ranked 158th in the world prior to the competition. And here now we are talking about the quarterfinals, and we are going to play against the host, Cameroon. So it's quite interesting. You know, it's a fairy tale story. You don't even know where to begin and where to stop, but it was fantastic when Musa Barrow scored that goal in the 71st minute. And Guinea did everything possible to react to get a goal. They even had a goal that was disallowed for offside. They hit the post, and Gambian players reacted very well by defending deep and making sure that they are very disciplined with the coach's tactics, which was really fantastic. And I think Musa Barrow has been a fantastic player in this competition. Maybe Aliou must have been watching Musa for several years, and he knows what his qualities are. During the qualifiers, we all said, okay, but this is not the Musa Barrow that we used to know, who plays for Bologna, and even when he was playing for Hawks in the Gambia. But in this competition, it appears he's a different Musa Barrow. Maybe
Indeed, for me, I think this tournament is his. I mean, we were looking forward to seeing the like of Hassan and others, but for me, Musa Barrow has really made a name for himself. And I'm looking forward to him joining top teams after this tournament, no doubt.
There's no doubt about that. So many people are talking about that. And let's get the reaction of the players just immediately after the match. Through the Gambia Football Federation, their media department, players reacted. Modu Barrow, Omar Kohli, and Captain Pamodu Jang.
Made it through to the quarterfinals, and I can say nothing more than I'm proud of the boys. I'm proud of all of you guys, the staff members, who've been working very hard for this. And I remember one day I was speaking with my dad about this, and I was supposed to choose between Sweden and Gambia, and like I had to make a big decision, and I said to them, I'm going to choose Gambia. And many people messaged me and said to me like, why are you doing this? Because we never qualify anyway or something. And I said to them, I'm going to be part of the people who will make the country qualify to the AFCON. This is my country and I love it. That's why I choose Gambia before Sweden. And I can say more than that I'm proud. And my dad for his support, you know, he supported me a lot. My wife, everyone in my family. I just want to say big thanks to the fans back home. And yeah, we will keep on fighting for them. Let them just keep the prayers up and we will keep giving more and keep fighting for them.
I feel so proud to be part of this team, to lead this team to our first AFCON, to our first quarterfinal in the AFCON. I feel so proud. I feel happy with this boy. It's a pleasure being here with this group of guys here, you know. But first of all, I would also like to thank my family, you know, my wife, you know, my dad and my brothers and everyone, you know, my kids, you know, and the coach for giving me this opportunity also. But to represent my country at this highest stage, you know, I feel so grateful, you know, but also not forgetting the ones who waved the way for us, you know, the likes of Biri Biri and come down up to us, you know, so I feel so proud. We are not here as tourists, we are here to compete. And whenever we step on the pitch, we will always perform. We will always deliver and fight for our country. That's why we are here.
It's a great honor to represent the Gambia. It's a great honor. Moreover, to go to the African Cup, to qualify to the quarterfinals. Oh man, it's an unbelievable feeling. I don't know how to describe this, but what I can say is that we will fight for the Gambia. We will fight for these colors until the day that God decide that we're going to go out. We're going to keep on fighting. So all we need is your prayers, your support. That's the only thing we need from you guys. Keep on supporting. We will never let you down. We're going to keep on fighting until the day we're gonna go out. I hope we're going to be in the final, inshallah. Thank you, everybody. One homeland, the Gambia.
Alhamdulillah, with the support of the fans back home, our families, you know, we keep believing, you know. We play as a team, you know, we defend as a team. We win as a team, you know, because like I said, this team, we don't have a star, you know. We are all together, one Bena Gambia, you know, all hearts on the field, you know. We give what we have to give, you know, on the pitch, you know. At the end of the day, Allah give us a victory, so we are happy, you know.
Yes, Musa Barrow ending those serialized reactions the Scorpion players, how they felt after the Guinea match, and now they're into the quarterfinals. They're in the world of their own. The feeling is great. It's awesome. They cannot even describe it. You can see the emotions. They're almost running into tears. So that's fantastic. And just a quick comment. This was a special match even for myself. I could remember when we played against Guinea in 2007 on the 24th of March at the Independence Stadium. I went there 10 a.m., left Bikana, you know, joined the queue to buy my ticket. Every time I joined the queue, some people will come and just destroy the queue. So the paramilitary, the security who were there at the time, reacted boldly to come and kick. I was one of the persons who was kicked before the match. And then I watched the game. We lost the Guinea by 2-0. And their coach yesterday, Kaba Jawara, was one of the goal scorers. He scored the first goal, and Pascal Fenduno scored the second goal. So you could see, I was very emotional as well. Those of you who have been following me on social media, you would see my video reaction just immediately after the game. So still on the reactions, let's go to Coach Tom Sanfield. This man, he's the benchmark, he's the motivator, he's pushing the team, he's making the players believe in themselves. And just listen to this, just before the Guinea game.
What happened today and yesterday, never seen. But this makes us stronger. This makes Gambia what we are. We have bad luck, but on the pitch we battle back and we go for victory. We are one team. Doesn't matter who play in the positions, we all are one team. Play smart. Play simple. Keep your focus in the beginning. Don't get free kicks away in danger zones. You know that they are good in the air. Don't do that. But play football compact, not too close to the 16, and then very fast coming out with short combinations up front and shoot from the second line. But most of all, today we're going to win as a team. Today, today we're going to write more history. Today you're going to show the whole world, not only Gambia, that you are heroes. Every setback, every bad luck we had the last days is nothing. Because after this match, we celebrate. We celebrate and sing that we go to Douala to meet Cameroon. Go for it, guys!
Yeah! Go away, guys! And they went to the pitch and did it!
I love that! I love that!
Fantastic, man! So he always motivates his boys. Yeah. I've been a big critic, but you know what, Tom? Respect, man. Respect. Respect. Yeah, man. So
you guys take it back.
Yes, exactly. Every time you criticize him, said, you know what? I'm doing my job and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So also, let's go to Westfield. You know that's the meeting point whenever there's a big thing happening in Gambia. Whether it is presidential election, whether it is football or something big in Gambia, Westfield is the meeting place. And let's see what the reaction of the fans were. And Aliou Cisse was there.
They went there as underdogs, and many other teams that have been participating in this tournament. But the Scorpions have proved beyond all reasonable doubts that they are a team to be reckoned with as far as football in Africa is concerned. Here at Westfield, quite exciting moment here. As you can see from my background, students who have just closed from school are all joining in this celebration. Quite historic day here in the country. A team that is participating in this tournament for the first time in the history of the country is today celebrating what is quite by far a huge achievement as far as Gambian and African football is concerned. A huge day, bro. No filter. Suntai mo jot lawa. Suntai mo. Wow. Muna suntai mo jot. How do you feel today? Yena you like QTV. Like QTV. Never contact. Today is the way feeling. You've seen our Scorpions winning today. How do you feel?
Aliou, I really feel happy today.
Yeah, fantastic. That ends the reactions there at Westfield, the meeting point. And we've completely run out of time, and we're wishing the Scorpions good luck in their game against the Hearst Cameroon in the quarterfinals.
Well, for me, I'm quite hopeful that the team can beat Cameroon. And from the the reaction of the players, you know, they are so grateful to the fans. They are grateful to their wives.
Yeah, their wives. next bul dugg si kaa yooyu yow bul dugg si kaa yooyu de lu yow lan la looy may ñu yow anyway we're done here because man bëgguma xee so naka la dañoo dem ba final wala ba suba continuer dem ba final ba suba ba suba bye bye ba suba
ndox mu set te ndox mu set dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wérugu yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndex mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wér gu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gat granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sellate óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wér gu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu ne ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD pure one membrane bi amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dund ni doomu